I'm John Sicotte, executive editor of the Brewer Magazine. Welcome to another edition of the Brewer Magazine podcast. We are sponsored by Keg Logistics, and you can check out more at keglogistics.com/brewermag. And of course, you can follow us on brewermag.com at any time, and you can find this podcast both on YouTube and on Spotify. Make sure that you're checking out all the former episodes. We have so much great content just on the podcast alone, but of course, you can see it daily at brewermag.com as well. Well, Kona Brewing-Hawaii has embraced a new chapter in its 30-year history recently, as it has been returned to being an independent craft brewery over these last 4 years. And with a renewed focus on its roots, Kona is charting a new course in marketing, product development, and community engagement with a new campaign that is debuting this April, Born Here for Here. It's showcasing local talent in new TV and radio commercials, along with some familiar faces. They're also working at strengthening ties to their community. Kona continues to reaffirm its role as a leader in Hawaii's craft beer scene. Let's check it out. This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency. And we welcome Katie Lefsrud of Kona Brewing. Katie, thanks so much for joining us here on the Brewer Magazine podcast.
Aloha. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, aloha to you. And I know I did that thing that's called snooping and looked at your LinkedIn. You've been there about, 7 months now, right? So
You got it. It's been a wild 7 months.
How's adjusting to island life and working with Kona?
Terrible. It's impossibly hard. I'm just joking. It's been wonderful. I've been coming to Hawaii for quite a long time as a visitor, which is very different than living here, of course. Yeah. And I've been welcomed with open arms by the brewery, the community, and to be a part of it is like truly a dream come true. It's really cool.
Yeah, and being a part of the craft beer industry, definitely already family. And of course, so much about family in Hawaii as well. And the cool thing is Kona is kind of back in the family of craft beer, regaining their independence about 4 years ago. What does that mean to the brand, and how has the business been moving forward as an independent brand now?
Yeah, I mean, the transition from a big nationally supported and nationally reaching brand back to a locally based, locally operated, and only locally operated organization has been really interesting. I think there's a few key factors that we're really proud of. The brewery that was built here is a really sustainable facility. So we've been able to remind consumers in our community about our CO2 reclamation, our water reclamation efforts, our solar efforts, just in the building that we have here. And that's a story that, when the brewery itself was connected to the mainland operation, wasn't as relevant, but we live on an island and we have a commitment, and as do a lot of the people who live here, to taking care of the Aina, the planet and the earth. And the brewery that we operate here helps to do that. So that's one big way we've been able to tell the story. Two is, like I said, we live here on the island, and supporting the community is a big part of it. Everyone who works here lives here, and that's exciting. And it's an important difference from where we were before. The network across the mainland is massive, but we don't have that anymore. We have our community here, our distributor network that's here in the States. And of course, our retail partners here that help support our local brewery is really important. So reconnecting that story is awesome. Those are two big things. And the third has been a challenge. We used to have a lot of kind of resources and partnerships from the mainland. And when we separated from the larger Anheuser-Busch organization 4 years ago, with that went a whole bunch of resources, printers and data and information, and we've had to rebuild a lot of that. And because we're local, and it's been a lot to do in 4 years, but we've been able to sustain a lot of our groundwork as a leader in the craft beer landscape, and we're proud of that along the way.
Absolutely. You kind of stole one of my questions. I was going
Oh,
to ask about challenges in being independent again. So you answered that. See, we're on the same wavelength then. We're hitting it
totally.
perfectly.
Yeah.
How about with just the consumer connection part of it, and
Mhm.
maybe even within the whole industry? I mean, the craft beer industry, obviously there is some looking away from when someone does that sellout routine,
Yeah.
and now they're back. And I think some people might not even know. I think especially because of the fact that there still is a Kona on the mainland that people
Yeah.
can get. But when you're in Hawaii, you're drinking a local craft beer. How much has that been an importance over these last 4 years?
Yeah, it's a really important. A lot of people, to your point, don't know that when they come to Hawaii, the beer that they are drinking here, by and large, is made here in Hawaii. So majority
Sure.
of the volume and the big wave that you pick up here in Hawaii is brewed here. I do need to say that we do import some of the SKUs and formats that we actually don't make here in Hawaii. So
Gotcha.
bottles that consumers come here to Hawaii to drink are actually brewed in the mainland. That's because bottles are really heavy to make here. We don't actually do it here.
Hmm.
Um, so we're working to phase that out over time so that we can ensure that the majority of that all of the volume that's made here and consumed here is made here in Hawaii. Tall boys are also imported. But the
Gotcha.
majority of the volume here is consumed in kegs and in cans, and those are made here, and they stay here in Hawaii, which is great.
And we'll transition into the kind of the new campaign that you got going on. How has that transition of independence again influenced the company direction, especially when it comes to marketing and product development even?
Yeah, in a lot of ways. Um, you asked about campaign and marketing and then product development. So
Yeah.
when it comes to the campaign, we've got two things that are working at the same time. The first is we've just launched a new campaign and with a new tagline called Born Here for Here. And that's all in effort to celebrate the fact that we are a brand and a business, a small business, a local business that started here over 30 years ago. And we're really proud of that. And we are still here brewing in the same space, serving beer in the same space that we've been for as long as 30 years. And everything that we brew here stays here. And the intent of the campaign is to tell that story. So that's like the effort around that campaign. You'll see in some of the creative that we're really celebrating the beer that we make too. We're proud. We make good beer here. We've got really talented brewers, really creative brewers. So we want to showcase the beer itself. So there's a lot of really like beautiful beer shots done in a only Hawaii way, which we're really proud of. So that's the campaign itself. The other is our partnerships. We, again, are a locally based, community focused brand. So we're partnering with all kinds of new musicians, local brands like the Eddie Aikau Foundation. And if you haven't heard of it, it is a world renowned surfing competition that brings talented surfers from across the planet here to Hawaii to surf and show off their skills. So we partner with the Eddie Aikau Foundation that helps bring back and celebrate cultural efforts to perpetuate the Hawaiian culture. That's part of one of our big partners. There's all kinds of other local community sports and water sports organizations like the Queen Liliuokalani paddling race, the Molokai Ho, and all sorts of other organizations across the state to really celebrate local groups. So those are two big groups of like ways that we are connecting with local organizations and changing the campaign. Your other question was about product development. And we, like I mentioned, have amazing, talented brewers. We are launching new brands as we speak. We have 2 new beers for the first time in a very long time that we are revitalizing our innovation efforts. So we've got a hazy IPA that's officially launching in 9 days, and a Pilsner that's going to be launching. And we're really excited to bring those to the market and compete with other really talented craft brewers here in Hawaii.
Awesome. So looking towards that, then that would be on April 11th. So fingers crossed this will be running right before that, so they'll be ready to go. Perfect timing for this. Then that's really cool. Let's talk a little bit about the creative and creating the Born Here for Here campaign. We know them as the Bruttas. It's David and Brutus. They've been there 11 years now. I think I remember seeing them on national campaigns. Now it's a local campaign with local guys. How awesome was it to be able to bring them into the fold and be able to do this again with them as an independent brewery?
Yeah, well, they've been with us for, like you mentioned, over a decade. And they are incredible kind of representatives of a laid back, come as you are beer brand. And I came into this role relatively new. I had a lot to learn about how the Hawaiian consumer, both local and visitors, feel about the guys, these Bruttas. And they're like a friend to everybody. And it's great to keep them in the fold and make sure that as people interact with Kona Brewing-Hawaii as a brand, that we continue to invite people in and be friends and with them. And Brutus and David allow us a chance to connect with people in that really authentic way. And they're so familiar. And as they walk around Hawaii in their neighborhoods, like people know them, they'll say hey, and it's great to have them as part of our team.
Absolutely.
And really
what
campaign?
What do they like? Are they obviously they were kind of cast in this so long ago, but now they've kind of become, pitchmen and faces of this company.
Totally.
It's not their full-time job. They don't just work for Kona. Like, are they just locals that live there? Do they have jobs in advertising? Like, what is their other things? What are they doing otherwise?
Yeah, well, you are right. They have a day job, and they're really involved in the community. They are actors. David, you'll see he has a couple roles in some other movies that will be coming up. I don't know if I'm at liberty to say, so I'll let you talk to him directly, but he's certainly a talent. And Brutus is really involved in the Hawaii culture as a I believe he's an official kumu. Forgive me if David or Brutus, if that's not correct, but he's really involved in celebrating and supporting Hawaiian culture throughout the state and in the mainland, in fact. So we're really proud to have them, as part of our community. And as you'll see in Hawaii, I don't know how much time, John, you spent in Hawaii, but it's a small community and a lot of people, we all know each other. We're all neighbors, whether we're on neighbor islands or not. So the fact that they are like local celebrities as well as have their own kind of day jobs is not out of the ordinary here in Hawaii.
Well, you kind of touched on it and what it means, but really, what was that inspiration? What kind of thought process for the Born Here for Here campaign started? Why was it important to kind of get this message out here? This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency.
Yeah, appreciate the question. We have all come together as Kona Brewing-Hawaii. We've actually gone through quite a bit of leadership changes. So I'm relatively new. We have a new president, Natalie Carisi, who's incredible. We have a new VP of operations, a new VP of food and beverage. So all of us are kind of new in our roles and taking a look at what this brand and this business needs to do. So we built a kind of creative mandatory for all of us, and that is to celebrate that Kona Brewing-Hawaii has great beer from Hawaii and for Hawaii's good times. And that's not a hard sentence to say, but like I mentioned, we've got really good beer and we need to lead from the front with all of what we do, celebrate the space that we brew our beer in and all that makes it wonderful, the community that's built around this brand that all started with beer. So that was kind of the launch pad for the campaign. We brought it to a creative partner that I've worked with for quite a while. They're a group called Owned out of Chicago. And while they're out of Chicago, they have done a ton of work to get to know the community here and the culture to make sure that as we launch this campaign, we're doing it in a really authentic tone. So as they've gotten to know this brand and the business and the kind of creative mandatory, we evaluated a ton of different creative ideas and kept coming back to this idea that we are a 30-year-old brand. We're really proud of our roots, and that everything that comes out of this brewery stays here, that what we are for here, that the partners that we are contributing to, the people that we not only employ, but really bring together at tables at our pub and over a beer is all about giving back to the community. So this notion of being for here is really important. And we were conscious about being too, marketing speak, which is a trap that a lot of, marketing brands can fall into. But we also know that there's a responsibility to speak plainly about what we're doing. So this Born Here for Here felt like we don't need to overthink it. We just need to celebrate the story. So that is kind of the short version of the long journey to get to this new campaign. And to have David and Brutus Abrellas there as part of a means to tell the story felt supernatural.
Sure. And outside of the television campaign with those guys, what else is coming for that? What kind of campaign pieces are there along with it? And how much effort does it take to put all of it together?
We're doing a lot differently this year. So we're working with a new media partner that's helping us broaden our reach and deepen our channel mix. So consumers here in Hawaii and only here in Hawaii will see the campaign in TV, they'll see it in digital, they'll see it in social, they'll see it in radio. And that's going to be a mix of a lot of local radio stations and their local talent sharing this Born Here for Here message. And you'll see it kind of woven in how we tell our stories in social. We're doing a lot of work to make sure that the people that do the hard work at our pubs in both Hawaii Kai, that's on Oahu, and here in Kona on the Big Island, are highlighted because we've got people who've been here for like 15 years, 20 years. It's amazing. And they are here for here. So we're telling those stories in a really important way. And again, partnering across different brew fests across the state to share that story.
Awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about, just the, like you said, 30 years that this company has been around. Yeah. And the campaign is, you can tell it's tied to local talent, culture, authenticity. I'll get that word right. It's got to be important in marketing now because, like you said, people, they'll see through the shit that you throw at them because it's so important. Why, how much do you take a step back and be like, we can't speak like this. We have to speak to the audience in a way that matters to them. And we're not selling them something. We're being a part of something with them.
Yeah, I thank you for the question. I think one of the big pieces that we're really proud of with this campaign and how we act as a brand is, you're right. Like we are not, we want to reflect Hawaii and all the components of it. Hawaii is a melting pot of a lot of different of people and cultures. It's obviously unique because of the amount of tourists and visitors that we get here. But our local community is what we want to really showcase. And there's one of the spots that you'll see that takes place in a backyard. And it's just a normal Hawaii backyard. And I think that's a part of Hawaii, especially in advertising, especially in beer advertising here, that you don't see a lot. And especially when it comes to showcasing Hawaii in the mainland, you'll see a lot of pristine beaches, which we are proud of. You'll see a lot of, perfectly coiffed, well done talent. and no faults to those types of talent, but we want to showcase so much more of what Hawaii means, and real communities and a real backyard. So we're proud of what that means, and that we as a brand and as a local brand can showcase all sorts of different facets of Hawaii.
Yeah, that's awesome. In fact, I'm not a big tourist person. Like when I
Mm,
go somewhere, I don't want to be the tourist that's going to all the touristy stuff. I love going. So like we rented a car when we were on Oahu and like just drove around and went, and obviously, we're respectful, but at the same time, like we don't need to go to the most popular places. We can just go to a place. And
yeah.
it's so much fun and to be able to do that. And I think that's what I can tell that you guys are trying to authenticate, that there's more than just the beaches of Waikiki and North Shore and everything that's east of there on the other islands. So that's really cool. I'm glad that you guys, like you said, have thought about that and wanted to be more authentic to the people that are there, because yes, you're going to have tons of tourists that come through every year. And I know, millions of people are there that are drinking your beer, and they already know that brand because of the 30 plus years and it being on the mainland. But
Yep.
you care about the regulars. You want those guys to be able to come to your pubs, once a week or more than that. And I think is that where the campaign really was driving home?
Absolutely. And it's not just coming to our pubs, although we absolutely are really proud of our regulars, and we have so many. We're so like grateful. Um, it's bringing a 12 pack of Big Wave to your backyard barbecue, to your kids graduation party, and to share with their parents, of course.
Yes.
And to be a part of those unique moments that make Hawaii and especially local culture like so special. I know I just moved here myself, but I've been so lucky to see such a rich and welcoming, warm group of humans, and you know welcome me in. And I want to make sure that the work that we do, the advertising that we do, reflects that realness of Hawaii. And that means that the local community can feel like we are a part of that world, and that will bleed into the visitors. That will allow visitors to feel like home as well. Um, because we want to make sure that this melting pot that is Hawaii and feels as welcome as it is.
Sure. And, the kind of wrapping up things here, I want to go back. I think it was about a year ago or so. I talked to Kahola's Mary Anderson about the Talk Story Pale Ale that
Yeah,
you guys stepped up and started contract brewing for her after
yeah,
the fires. And, that shows right that. And I think that's where it first got back on my radar, that this is a local brewery again, that Kona Brewing-Hawaii is a separate entity. And to see that, you guys stepped up and be able to do that shows that you guys are trying to be a part of the Hawaiian craft beer scene. How are you guys seeing yourself in a role as that? And how much do you care about being, that leader, that veteran that is around? There's 30 breweries now, and there's really a craft beer scene in Hawaii.
yeah. You're right. And we are so grateful to be able to help Kahola when things were really hard for them, and a really tragic moment for everyone in the community in Hawaii. We're still brewing Kahola beer and really proud of that as well.
Awesome.
And as far as a leader goes in the craft beer community, yeah, we absolutely are proud of that. And we have a few things that we are doing. There's a lot more that we can do to celebrate brewers and the brewing community here in Hawaii. I think one, we help and partner with a team that hosts a Kona Brew Fest that has been around for 30 years. And we have also been a contributing member of the Pink Boot Society, and to celebrate female brewers here in the state. I think there's a lot more that we can do to continue to push craft brewing as an industry. And in Hawaii, it's interesting too. I mean, if you go look at the Nielsen data, craft brewing as an entity is performing a lot better than it is in the mainland. So there's a curiosity about craft brewing here that's continuing to grow, and drinkers here just behave a little bit differently than they do in the mainland. So sharing that knowledge and kind of helping to continue and perpetuate creativity in the industry is certainly where we are headed. And like I said, there's a lot more on the horizon for how we can continue to nurture and bring more brewers together to do more. But we're proud to be a leader in the space.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's wrap things up with some fun questions that have nothing to do with anything we just talked about. Sound fun?
Cool.
All right.
Do it.
Number one, which reality TV show do you think you could win and why?
Oh my gosh, I don't watch too many.
Okay.
I've been told Survivor, but I've never watched the show. So I don't actually know what that means.
But someone's told you that. So that means that you could at least know that you could walk on there and have an opportunity. They feel confident in you. Okay.
That's right.
Cool. What is your go-to fast food order?
Oh man, my go-to fast food order. Does Starbucks count?
Sure. Go for it. If that's I mean, it's morning for you, so I'm sure that's on your mind more than dinner.
My go-to fast food order is a spinach egg white wrap. This is so boring.
It works though. Well, these are unprepared questions, so like you have to like be on it. So okay,
all of these have been unprepared, John.
That's true. That's true. But you're a pro, so you're doing awesome. What's the most ridiculous or unexpected thing you've ever been asked to do at a previous job?
The most ridiculous or unexpected thing I've ever been asked to do at a previous job. I don't know if it's ridiculous, but I used to work at Molson Coors Light, Miller Lite, Leinenkugel's, Peroni. And unexpected, I had the great pleasure of working for the Leinenkugel's brand at its 150th anniversary, and had the pleasure of working with that community and that at the time 5th generation family brewery to put together their 150-year celebration, which was wild and wonderful and massive. And I got to know the Leinekugel family. I feel very tied to that group, and that was a really unexpected, wonderful thing to participate in.
Cool.
Yeah, it
was
cool.
Did you get to go to Leinie's Lodge up there? And
I was there all the time. It's great. Yes, it's a little warmer here in Hawaii, but.
Yeah, I got to say, Leinenkugel's was almost my introduction to craft beer before I even knew what craft beer was. Like, I'm from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so like that was on Creamy Dark was on tap, and it was just a normal thing in the 90s. So
that's a deep cut, Creamy Dark. Good for you.
Yeah, exactly. So Leinie's holds a special place in my heart, and I'm always happy to hear that name pop up. Well, very cool. I thank you so much for taking the time to talk about Kona Brewing-Hawaii, the independence, the campaign that you guys got coming up. Of course, we'll have to follow on social media unless you live in Hawaii. Then you'll be able to hear the ads and see the TV commercials. But exclusivity is a virtue, so that'll be pretty cool. So you'll have to go to Hawaii if you want to see the commercials.
Come on down. Let me know next time you're here.
Excellent. Katie, thanks so much.
Thank you, John.
This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency.